Outrage is growing over the Biden DOJ's crackdown on parents and school board protests. Activists gathered in Virginia to push back on what they're calling dangerous government overreach and a threat to free speech. And they're not wrong. Here to react to all this, Chairman of American Conservative Union, Matt Schlapp. Mr. Schlapp, always good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, Buck.
So walk us through this one. Since when did caring about your children's education and hoping that they weren't being exposed to quasi-pornographic material, being exposed to critical race theory, being masked, or I don't know, maybe double masked just to be safe in school. Since when did that make you a possible domestic terrorist?
Yeah, it's a very strange thing. And here where I live in the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Democratic nominee for governor, Terry McAuliffe, said in a debate that parents don't have the right to see what books their kids are reading. You know, this is what socialists believe. They believe that the state knows better. Educrats are more educated than parents, and they know better. And the teachers union had signaled to Tony Fauci and the CDC what they wanted them to do on opening or closing schools. And what we have in this case is this other union that comprises membership from school boards, basically signaled to DOJ and to the Biden administration that they needed to do something to stop these parents from being so aggressive at these school board meetings, which are public meetings made for parents to come and express their views. And so the DOJ did what the unions wanted them to do. It's the second time this has happened in the Biden administration. Sometimes I don't know where I'm living anymore.
I mean, here's Jen Psaki when she was pressed on this by Steve Doocy, who seems to be one of the only people that will press her on any question of public importance. But here's how that went.
Does the administration agree that parents upset about their kids' curriculums could be considered domestic terrorists?
These were threats against public servants, threats against members of the school board. Regardless of the reasoning, threats and violence against public servants is illegal.
I mean, I get threats. Like, is the DOJ going to track down every person that says mean, scary things to me? I don't think so.
No, definitely not. And here's the thing. It's all this, what do words mean? Remember this whole idea of my truth and how the definition of words seems to change under this kind of woke culture of we'll steal a word and bastardize its meaning. Now you have this idea when a conservative parent, by the way, a lot of these parents aren't even conservatives. Let me just say, when a parent who believes that America is a decent place and believes in societal norms like cops are needed and the military is needed and it's okay to go to church, when they all of a sudden get alarmed at what they're hearing while their kids are kept home from school because of corona regulations, and they start to hear what's going on with these teachers, they all of a sudden got engaged and saying, wait, what is this CRT? Why are they teaching my kids that they have white privilege and somehow they're somehow caught up in slavery when that was centuries ago? And so you go through all this, and parents have been activated because of the extremism of the left. So what does the Biden administration do? They slur parents with this word. It's the same slur, Buck, that they used at anybody who supported Trump, anybody who took to the streets to counter Black Lives Matter. By the way, when the left burns down buildings, shoots cops, creates complete civil unrest all over the country, you know what that is? That's an understandable expression of their political concerns, and it's called a protest. When I was involved in the Brooks Brothers riot in the 2000 election in Miami, they called us a riot. We were guys in preppy clothes saying that we should be able to observe the ballots, no violence at all. That's a riot. When the left riots, it's a protest.
At least you were impeccably dressed while you were fighting for the Republic, yeah. Mr. Schlapp, which we always appreciate. But, you know, it's amazing to see how the Democrats won't really, if someone asks me, do you think that parents who want to speak out at school board meetings, regardless, as you point out, of their politics, are domestic terrorists? I mean, I laugh at that. I've been saying this is like the soccer mom insurrectionist talk, where they just, the same way they pretend that anybody who ever voted for Donald Trump was part of the January 6th insurrection, now they're just trying to pull more people in as threats to democracy all the time. This is the phrase that idiots constantly use. It's a threat to our democracy. Here's Senator Ted Cruz of Texas asking Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark what she thinks about this situation. I think it's illuminating.
Is it beneficial for the Attorney General to label them as domestic terrorists and direct the FBI to target them? The Attorney General's memo deals with threats against public servants and says that threats against public servants are not only illegal, they run counter to our nation's core values.
Do you believe parents objecting at school boards are domestic terrorists?
I don't, Senator.
Okay. Glad to see that they'll at least pull the line, or they'll at least draw the line on that one. They'll hold the line, if you will.
Yeah, so this is the problem, is that the left is much more centralized. So when those people targeted Ted Cruz when he was going out to dinner with his family or at the airport, when they targeted Rand Paul and the rest of us who left the White House after the Republican National Convention, that's all acceptable protest. But when parents want to get engaged, they're called domestic terrorists. You know what's crazy, Buck, is when these illegals who are here in this country, who are organized by the left, people like George Soros, to attack Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, they're not even supposed to be here legally. It's an insane idea. Yet what they're doing is excused by Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, and the rest. We're talking about parents, taxpayers. Their kids are being polluted in the schools that they're paying for with their taxpayer money. And Joe Biden and Merrick Garland think it's appropriate to call them domestic terrorists.